Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Storm Spotter for the National Weather Service in Phoenix, Timothy Breault, coming with you for another monsoon video. I'm going to do something a little bit different here, and I'm going to talk to you guys about the North American monsoon, because I've had a lot of people in the comment sections leaving me, there is no such thing as a monsoon in the Southwest. The North American monsoon season is a farce. There is no such thing whatsoever, and I'm going to help clarify this up a little bit, but it's okay. You guys can leave your comments, and you guys are all entitled to your opinions. That's okay. I welcome that, all right? You guys have thrown me a little bit of a challenge, and I like that. So keep them coming. I'm going to do as much research as I can to help you guys understand that we truly do have a North American monsoon season that affects us every year. Okay, it's a seasonal wind shift that takes place. Okay, so let's just read about a little bit. About the North American monsoon and what it entails. Okay, so right here, we'll read along. Until the late 1970s, there was a serious debate about whether a monsoon truly existed in North America. However, considerable research, which was culminated in the Desert Southwest Arizona Monsoon Project, or SWAMP, in 1990 and 1993, established the fact that a bona fide monsoon characterized by large-scale winds and rainfall shifts in the summer developed over much of Mexico and the intermountain region of the U.S. Published papers at the time called this pattern by many names. So there were different names, and this included the summer thunderstorm season, the Mexican monsoon, and the Southwest monsoon, and the Arizona monsoon. So more research was done. In 2004, a major multinational research project was conducted in northwest Mexico and the southwest U.S. The North American Monsoon Experiment, or the NAME, sought to better describe the monsoon in North America and increase our ability to predict it on a daily, weekly, and seasonal basis. The North American Monsoon Experiment showed that despite its many names, the weather pattern we see during the summer is not only a true monsoon, but it also affects the weather over a large portion of North America. Thus, the generally accepted name is now the North American Monsoon. Okay? So it is okay for you guys to, say that it's the summer thunderstorm season. That's not a wrong thing to say, but it is imperative to know that we do indeed have a monsoon season. Okay, it's a seasonal wind shift that takes place on a yearly basis. You guys are seeing it right here live. The North American monsoon is not as strong or persistent as its Indian counterpart, mainly because the Mexican plateau is not as high or as large as the Tibetan plateau in Asia. However, the North American monsoon shares most of the basic characteristics of its Indian counterpart. Okay, this one also affects Asia. It's the same thing. There is a wind shift, or a shift in the winds in summer, which occurs as Mexico and the Southwest warm under intense solar heating. As this happens, the flow reverses from dry land areas to moist ocean areas. In the North American monsoon, the low-level moisture is transported primarily from the Gulf of California and the eastern Pacific. The Gulf of California, a narrow body of water surrounded by mountains, is particularly important for the low-level moisture transport into Arizona and the Sonora area. Upper-level moisture is also transported into the region mainly from the Gulf of Mexico by easterly winds aloft. Once the forests of the Sierra Madre Occidental green up from the initial monsoon rains, evaporation and plant transportation, or evapotranspiration, can be added to additional moisture to the atmosphere, which will then flow into Arizona. Finally, if the southern plains of the U.S. are unusually wet and green during the early summer months, that area can also serve as a moisture source. This combination causes a distinct rainy season over large portions of western North America, which develops rather quickly and sometimes dramatically. Okay, so graphic 1 shows the general moisture sources for the North American monsoon. Okay, so I want to go down a little bit. And this map, okay, basically shows what's going on. So here's your southern plains right here, and they have been particularly wet this early part of the summer so far. Okay, so lots of New Mexico, we've had a lot of these backdoor cold fronts that have helped to moisten the eastern fringes of New Mexico and West Texas. Oklahoma, all these areas here in Texas have been very wet, okay? There's been a lot of rain early on this summer. So that's going to be a good source for getting the moisture up here, okay? Here's the Sierra Madres down here in Mexico. This is the heart region of the monsoon, okay? This is where it all forms on a yearly basis. So these arrows pinpoint, here's the Gulf of California and the winds coming in from the Gulf. That's a Gulf surge. The moisture also comes in from the eastern tropical Pacific. So that's 1, 2, 3 from the plains, 4 from the Gulf of Mexico. It is a seasonal wind shift, okay? North American monsoon low-level moisture sources. So right now, we are in basically this type of scenario. We have moisture coming in from the southern plains and moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. That's what we had last week in New Mexico, in West Texas. That's why there was some severe thunderstorms. That was a type of monsoon flow, but it's not your classic monsoon flow, okay? It's just one of them. So going down a little further. Now, rainfall during the monsoon is not continuous. It varies considerably depending on a variety of factors. There are usually distinct burst periods of heavy rain during the monsoon and break periods with little or no rain. Monsoon precipitation, however, amounts to for a substantial portion of its annual precipitation in northwest Mexico and the southwest U.S. Most of these areas receive over half the annual precipitation from the monsoon itself, okay? Now, this is what I've been explaining to a lot of people right here. The North American monsoon circulation pattern typically develops in late May or early June over southwest Mexico. Now, funny, this year, it's been a little bit late. Okay, I've had some of you guys commenting that it's been late down on the Sierra Madres. You guys are correct. It is late. By mid to late summer, thunderstorms increase over the core region of the southwest U.S. and northwest Mexico, including the U.S. and the Mexican states of Arizona, New Mexico, Sonora, Chihuahua, Sinaloa, and Durango. Okay, sorry, those names are hard to pronounce for me anyway. The monsoon typically arrives in mid to late June over northwest Mexico and by early July over the southwest U.S. Once the monsoon is underway, mountain ranges including the Sierra Madre Occidental, and the Mongolian Rim provide a focusing mechanism for the daily development of thunderstorms. Thus, much of the monsoon rainfall occurs in mountainous terrain, and that is very true. For example, monsoon rainfall in the Sierra Madre Occidental typically ranges from 10 to 15 inches or more, and depending on the elevation. Since the southwest U.S. is in the northern fringe, this is what I've been explaining, on the northern fringe of the monsoon, precipitation is less and tends to be more variable. Areas further west of the core region, namely California and the Baja California, typically receive only spotty monsoon-related rainfall. And in these areas, the intense solar heating is not strong enough to overcome a continual supply of cold water in those areas, okay? So it actually stabilizes the atmosphere once you get to the beaches of California. But there are instances where sometimes monsoon thunderstorms will make it if the conditions are right. They will make it all the way to the coastal plain. Okay? So you guys can do this research yourself and see that there is truly a monsoon season. Okay? Now, I'm reading it word for word. But again, this is used just for purposes of research, okay? And I'm showing you, all right, what's going on here, okay? So there's no reason to take the video down or anything. It's just that I'm using it to show you guys, to help answer your questions on whether a monsoon truly exists here in the desert Southwest. So in addition to the low-level moisture or the low-level monsoon circulation or the upper high, the upper-level monsoon or subtropical ridge that develops over the southern plains and northern Mexico. In June, this ridge is too far south over Mexico and actually blocks deep moisture from moving north into Arizona. That's the situation we have right now, okay? So we're in a blocking phase, but that conditions are not going to last forever. All right, so basically, here's what we got, okay? So here's June. These are the height anomalies, okay? In June, we're pretty much in this right now. All right, this is what we're currently at. The high pressure does reside in northern Mexico right now and is blocking the moisture source. Okay, so this is correct, these graphics. So it's a 500 millibar height pattern. June subtropical high is strengthening over northern Mexico. That's why it has been so ridiculously hot across New Mexico, West Texas, and Arizona, and even Southern California. However, by late June or early July, the ridge shifts north into the southern plains or southern Rockies. As the shift takes place, mid and upper level moisture streams into Arizona and the low level moisture surges from Mexico meet less resistance. All right, so after the 4th of July, we're going to start seeing this position. The high is going to move pretty much in that general location. All right, so graphic 3, mean 500 millibar height pattern July, subtropical high is near maximum seasonal strength over New Mexico. All right. So the monsoon ridge is almost at this point as strong as the one which develops over Asia during the summer. However, since the low level moisture is not as persistent as the Indian monsoon, the upper level steering pattern disturbances around the